the end of the season, kind of how do you summarize what has gone on this year and just, how up and down and tumultuous it's kind of been for everyone?
Well, first I just want to talk about the game a little bit, Courtney, in that today was really a bitter pill considering that we played Alabama very competitively, both in Tuscaloosa, where it was a 3-point game with less than a minute to go. They hit a three to go up six. And at our place, with a minute and a half to go, we had two 3-point shots that had a chance to tie it in a minute and a half. So to get beat this badly was really, really a bitter pill. And give them credit. Alabama's got a great team. They're the best team in our league. They're a team that has a chance to go to the Final Four. Outstanding leadership in terms of Herb Jones and Petty. They're two seniors, really phenomenal players. Quinterly has been great against us every time, and again, he was today. We were 1 for 19 from the 3-point line. You're not going to win many games doing that. And I thought our turnovers in the first half, they really got into us defensively and turned us over and turned them into a lot of easy baskets. And that's been a problem for us the entire season, something we've got to get better at. But when you talk about the season as a whole, Courtney, and what you wanted me to kind of, yeah, it's been up and down. And we started out the season without Iverson Molinar the first 3 games, all right, for protocol reasons, and played 2 really good NCAA tournament teams in Clemson and Liberty. Started out 0-2, came back and got a win. We got up to a great start in the conference, started out 4-2, and easily could have been 5-1 or 6-0 during that juncture, and it was frustrating to go into the slide we went into. I think we lost 4 straight conference games before finally getting a win down in South Carolina. But overall, I think the guys that are young and that will be returning on this team will have garnered a lot of experience and a lot of learning that's going to help them here in the year to come, which is what we're preparing for now. There's an outside chance that we could even be invited to postseason play in the NIT, and we have to wait until Sunday to find that out.
Up next, we'll go to Neil Cross.
Coach, I talked about, Alabama's defense, and that's a place from where the last year it seems like they've made their biggest jump. What is it about their defense that allows them to be so disruptive like they were today?
I thought they really added to their depth this year. I think some of their younger, new guys, and you look at a guy like Primo and how good he is. Quinterly was fantastic this year defensively for them. I thought that the depth they had, when you look at the guys, Ellis, Gary, they have a lot of bodies that keep coming at you. But Herb's where it starts, and he was the MVP. And Petty, I thought, did a much better job defensively this year than he had done in previous years. I know that was something I've heard their coach talk about, is really getting him to buy into being a good defender. And they did. They went from the defensive efficiency being in the 110 range last year to being in the top 3 this year. And that's a credit to their coaching staff, and it's a credit to their players.
Iverson and Tolu tried to shoulder the load for you offensively today, and Iverson's going to leave here with 2 really good games with regard to what he did at the offensive end, certainly. What is it that he can build off of as a guy who seems like he can step up when you need him to when things aren't going well offensively?
I think that we've got to continue to get Iverson to be a catch and shoot guy first, rather a catch and bounce it first, which is what he's always done. He had an open 3 in the first half that we wanted him to take, but he's really made huge strides. And think about where he was a year ago to where he is now. He's got a great work ethic. He's a wonderful young man. He's going to get better at his ball handling and creating for others. That's going to be a big part because he's so good offensively, garners so much attention. Creating for others will be a big thing for him. And keep getting better defensively. He's got to keep growing in that area. But he improved in every way from a year ago to where he is now, and I'm proud of the progress he's made in this past year.
Tolu got to the foul line a lot inside of 2 games for you here in the SEC tournament, and it seems like the free throw stroke is getting better for him. But just from the start of conference play to where you guys are now after 2 games in the SEC tournament, how much better is he overall, better equipped to compete in this league going forward?
Yeah, he had a solid year. I mean, think about it, Neil. He led the conference in rebounding. That's a huge accomplishment right there in itself. He was the leading offensive rebounder. He's going to keep working. He has an unbelievable work ethic, so I know he's going to put in the time this coming off season, and we hope it gets back to normalcy. We're able to work with our guys a little more, like we normally do in June when they come back for summer school. But I have no doubt he'll be better in every way. I think he'll improve his shooting. I think he's going to improve his post play in terms of scoring and having more of a post moves around the basket, growing that area. And I think he's going to get better defensively. He grew a lot. And think about it, he's really played 5 all his life, center position. He played power forward all year. That's going to help him because he's going to grow as a player in terms of his ball handling and passing, which is something he needs to do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next we'll go to Garrett Hodge.
Hey Ben, how beneficial is this postseason experience for your whole young team, considering you get the win yesterday, and they learn how to make close plays down the stretch to close one out, and then they also see a team today with what it's like to face the top of the league.
Yeah, we faced them twice before, as you know, Garrick, and played them incredibly tough and had a chance to win both those games. That's why it's so frustrating to lose so poorly and so badly the way we did today. But give them credit. They shot 32% against us the last time we played in Starkville 2 weeks ago. And today it was a much different game. They really did a good job finding the open guy. And what struggled for us, though, is that we struggled to score. We just struggled to score offensively the last 2 times we played them, and we've got to be better. I think in Tuscaloosa we scored in the mid-70s and had a pretty good, fluid game at that end of the floor.
Next we'll go to Paul Jones.
Coach, you mentioned the kind of building towards next year already. Kind of waiting to see what happens Sunday with NIT. But with this young team and most of them coming back, what do you think the identity of this team could be next year with you losing Adu and Jalen Johnson only?
Yeah, I think that we're going to add some good pieces to this team. I think we're going to be a team that will play, 4 out, 1 in, with Tolu being the main guy inside. And that will definitely grow. I mean, you look at Tolu and DJ and Iverson. That's one of the top scoring trios in our conference. We've got to can keep growing around them. I think Derek Fountain's made good contributions to our team here late in the season when he finally got his opportunity. Davon's going to keep getting better, improving, and I think he sees all the things that he's got to do to grow his game to where he can be a really effective player in this conference. Cameron, I think, is going to be a good player. And, we're counting on Quentin, for example, to get bigger and stronger in this offseason and take advantage of his opportunity to play more. And so, JD will be back. We have a lot of guys back, obviously.
We'll end with Joel Coleman.
Hey, Ben. I mean, obviously this year was a little bit of you could call it a transition year for you guys, after losing your 4 top scorers of a year ago and things. A lot of young guys, but as Paul just said, a lot of them probably back next year and things. I'm just curious, how do you kind of, maybe too early to ask the question, but looking ahead to next year, how do you kind of view it? Do you view it as another year that these guys have to develop? Is there a sense of urgency either for you or for the team? Just kind of in your mind as you go ahead and look at next year, how do you see next year from an overall standpoint?
I think there's always a sense of urgency, but now the guys that played this year have a lot more experience. We had started 3 sophomores and a freshman at the end of the season here with Derek in the starting lineup, and we expect those guys to be the leaders of this team moving forward. We'll add some other pieces, and that will be a key factor for us moving forward. But there's definitely a sense of urgency to have a really good season next year and get ourselves into postseason play, get back to the NCAA tournament. That's obviously the goal for us a year from now.
Emerson, what was Alabama doing that just made it so hard for you guys to, take care of the ball today, with the turnovers?
They did a pretty good job pressuring the ball, and especially coming off them screens. They hard hedged a little harder than the last two games, and they knew what we wanted to do on offense more. So they kept forcing us to do stuff that we weren't comfortable with.
Go to Garrett next. Your mic's muted, Garrett.
Thought I would get used to this by now. Iverson, what does today's postseason experience do for you, both yesterday with the win and, the disappointment of the loss in the future to help the team and hopefully make a tournament run next year?
It was a pretty great experience from, based on yesterday, and, it's a little disappointing for today, but, it's my first time experiencing the SEC tournament, and, I feel great out there, and, it's a whole different energy from actually the regular season, so, I like it, and for next year, we gonna come back stronger.
Up next, we'll go to Paul Jones.
And I asked Coach Allen about next year's team and kind of looking forward. Unlike this year, you guys are going to return pretty much the whole roster except for maybe Adu and Jalen Johnson. How much are these experiences going to carry over to next year?
It's gonna help us a lot. We're gonna be a little more prepared from, I feel like we did good on, non-conference schedule. But now this year, or next year is going to prepare us more for, actually the SEC. That's when, we started to struggle a little bit and feel like we're going to get into it a little bit more, a little harder than this year.
Up next, we'll go to Gary Graves.
Yeah, what did you see offensively from Alabama in terms of their pace in those first 10 minutes that was different from the first two games?
The pace was faster, and they were a little bit more spaced out, and I just felt like we did a better job in the first game against Alabama than today. I feel like they beat us out the balance a little bit more than the past two games, and that opens up the floor for them a little more because they got shooters. So that's what I feel like they did. They just stay spaced out, and they did a pretty good job beating us out the bounce.
We'll end with Garrett for Iverson.
Iverson, I know the loss is pretty fresh. I know Paul said that the expectation is a lot of the guys will be back next year. Do you yourself plan to come back next year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just prepared for next year, and let's just see what happens.
Abdul, I know it's not the way you wanted to leave Nashville. Just kind of give me a snapshot of what it is about Alabama that makes them so good at both ends of the floor.
That's you got to give them credit. That's a really good team. Alabama is a good. They could kill you in transition, and they could kill you outside of the 3-point line. I think that's the best team in the SEC when it comes to shooting three. If not one of the best, the best team in the SEC. So they run the ball, they take care of the ball. They do a great job of doing taking care of the ball. They force you to make errors. They force you to play fast. And I think that was one of the main issues we had today. They kind of took us out of our own game and kind of just made us play faster. As you can see, we had like 14 turnovers in the first half, but they could shoot the three. I think they were like from the 3-point line, 13 out of 36. They're gonna shoot the ball. So.
I know that against Kentucky in the game yesterday, post offense was a big reason you guys were able to build that double-digit lead at halftime. And it seemed like today Alabama made it tougher to get the ball inside. How are they doing that? Is that ball pressure out front? Is it disrupting guards? Does that make it tougher to get the ball inside to you guys?
I think they forced our offense all the way out to where we couldn't even get a better look to the post players. And then whenever in the post we catch it, it was almost like they were living with us taking the three. Because they double team every time we caught it in the post, so we had to kick it out to kind of avoid turning the ball over. Sometimes we we just didn't do a better job of kicking the ball back, which resulted to a turnover, and majority of our turnovers turned into fast break points for them, which killed us a lot. So.
I know that none of us know what the future holds, but tell me what this year has been like for you, a transitional year for the program, and you being one of the older guys that's kind of helped lead this team through that transition. What's it been like?
It's been like a love and hate kind of season, with the whole COVID thing, having a bunch of new guys, which is one of the things I think people don't really realize. We have a lot of new faces on the team. A lot of freshmen also, so it's always hard to kind of just get everybody together. We didn't even have our the June and July workouts that we normally have, so that was hard. So it was almost like we had to kind of just build up chemistry, which was also hard because you had a social distance. But for me, it's been fun. I've been grateful with playing with the guys. I don't know what the future holds, but right now we praying that we have the opportunity to play in the NIT. We just were gonna wait to hear about that on Sunday. So.
Abdul, thank you.
Thank you.
Next we'll go to Garrett Hodge.
Hey, Abdul, obviously a very successful Mississippi State career for you. You're in the record books in a couple places. If there is no NIT berth for you, obviously there's a chance you could come back for a year if you wanted to. Have you given any thought to if you want to or if you kind of want to move on?
Right now, it's almost like I have no clue what I'm doing. It's as a kid, you always think everything is just going to be laid out and just be straightforward until it kind of hit me that it was March, and I'm just like, okay, I got to figure out what's next. So I think I will have to make that decision. Hopefully, we make it to the NIT, and after the NIT, and we'll see what happens after that.
Next we'll go to Joel Coleman.
Abdul, if this is it for your Mississippi State career, or really, I guess even if it isn't, what's wearing that maroon and white meant to you? What has the last 5 years of your life being in Starkville and being a part of this team? How will you look back at this period of your life when you as you grow up and you're an old man at Mississippi State? What are you thinking about?
It means a lot to the point where I can't really put it in words. It's been a blessing. I built a relationship with a lot of people that which would forever be with me. The community has raised me into a grown man. Everybody has supported me, have shown me love. My teammates, the coaching staff, the teammates that I came in with and after. It means a lot. It truly means a lot that I can only say I'm grateful for the opportunity and yeah.